Well, we're going to see how much power you can get out of the old 30-30 on today's episode of Ref Shop Outdoors. Howdy folks, welcome back to Ref Shop Outdoors. Today we're gonna test the ballistics on 3 factory loads of 30-30. First will be 170 grain Winchester power points. The second will be some 160 grain Hornady leverevolution FTX. And then the third will be Buffalo Boar's heavy 190 grain soft point 30-30. So I mean, it's not going to be perfectly fair test because these are different grain weight bullets, but it'll be interesting to see what we get for actual ballistics on this. So the 170 grain power points, I've taken 2 black bear with them. So they're, of course, black bears aren't that difficult to kill, but so they work. I've seen guys take whitetails with them. They're generally moving slow enough that they don't come apart as bad as like the 30-06, but anyway, chronograph is already set up, ready to go, so I will just get started. Ooh. 1939. That's a decent speed. Look at that. Didn't get an ejection there. 1953. We're going a little faster. Yeah, caught it. 1942. All right, we'll take a little break here so I can write some stuff down. All right, so now we're gonna try out the Hornady lever revolution. It's you know, these got really popular for a while, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody shoot a deer with them. I carried them. One fall I hunted with this, but I didn't get a deer. So this will be, I don't know how they perform on game, but we'll see what we get for ballistic data. Oh, that's moving. 21-25. We're getting some speed now. Whoa, yeah. Now I'm getting good ejection. I think Hornady brass is a little better than Winchester. Oh, 21-72. And it's raining. 21-72, that is moving. For a 30-30 with a 16-inch barrel. Man, I gotta pick up that brass. 21.97. This stuff ejected good too. Alrighty, so that is the Hornady. You know, that's obviously, you know, with the, it's a little bit lighter bullet, 10 grains, but with that pointed tip, boy, that sure made a lot of difference. Now this stuff, this Hornady, this is 190 grain. This is heavy stuff. If I was out west, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and, you know, I had a 30-30 for my saddle gun, you know, them grizzlies out there are mean. Meaner than Alaska, I would say. This is what I would carry, these Buffalo Bore 190 grain. They're advertised at 2,100 feet a second. But I think that's out of a 20-inch barrel. So we'll see what we get out of the 16. 1946. That's pretty good for a 190 grain bullet. Oh, there we had a jam. $19.55. That's still doing dang near what the 170 grain Winchester PowerPoints were doing. Oh, it blew the sunshade off the chronograph. 1966. Okay, well, time for math. All right, so what we averaged on 3 shots for the 170 grain PowerPoint was a 1,944 feet per second. That gives us 1,426 foot-pounds with a TKO of 14.5. The extreme spread was only 14. Next up was the Hornady leverevolution. 160 grain, extreme spread, pretty high, which seems to be pretty common. I've noticed with Hornady ammunition has a pretty high extreme spread, 72. But moving quite a bit faster, almost 200 feet a second, over 200 feet a second faster, 2,164 feet a second. That gives us 1,663.4 foot-pounds, with a TKO of 15.2. So you got, I mean, you got some halfway decent stopping power there. Now, 190 grain jacketed flat nose from Buffalo Bore. Extreme spread of 22, averaged 1,956 feet per second. Now, advertised, I did look up on the Buffalo Bore website. He does have a trapper model just like mine. He got little like 2,020 feet a second. But I checked the elevation here. I'm at 1,410 feet above sea level. Elevation does have an effect on your velocities. Higher elevations, you will have higher velocities because gravity is not as strong. And air pressure. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But so at 1,410 feet above sea level, I'm getting 1,956. Still pretty dang good out of a 16-inch barrel. Now, here's where muzzle energy means nothing to me. This 160 grain, yeah, it's going quite a bit faster. That has 1,663.4 foot-pounds. And this 190 grain, going a little slower, has 1,014 foot-pounds of energy. And you're going to tell me that that lighter bullet has more muzzle energy. Okay. But this is why I like the TKO. 16.4 TKO. Quite a bit more than these two. So, that's our ballistic data on this factory load 30-30 test. Well, there you have it, folks, for a 16-inch barrel saddle gun, 30-30. If you're not a hand loader, I would seriously consider, if you're in the West where big bears are something that you might have to worry about, the 190 grain jacketed flat nose from Buffalo Bore is a pretty stout load. So that'll be today's video. I'm Pete Refshaw with Refshaw Outdoors, and keep that powder dry.